It's an honor to be here and to celebrate 30 years of Joiner Center, now Joiner Institute. I've spent many beautiful summers here, and I'm very grateful for all the work that's being done by Joiner and has been done. I'm opening with a poem called The Boatman. I spent the last 7 summers in Greece teaching in Thessaloniki and Thassos. Thassos is an island in the northern Aegean, very close to Lesbos, where many of the refugees that have crossed the Aegean have come. This is a refugee from Homs in Syria. The Boatman. We were 31 souls, he said, in the gray sick of sea, in a cold rubber boat, rising and falling in our filth. By morning, this didn't matter. No land was in sight. All were soaked to the bone, living and dead. We could still float, we said, from war to war. What lay behind us but ruins of stone piled on ruins of stone? City called Mother of the Poor, surrounded by fields of cotton and millet, city of jewelers and cloak makers, with the oldest church in Christendom and the sword of Allah. If anyone remains there now, he assures, they would be utterly alone. There is a hotel named for it in Rome, 200 meters from the Piazza di Spagna, where you can have breakfast under the portraits of film stars. There, the staff cannot do enough for you. But I am talking nonsense again, as I have since that night we fetched a child, not ours, from the sea, drifting face down in a life vest, its eyes taken by fish or the birds above us. After that, Aleppo went up in smoke, and Raqqa came under a rain of leaflets warning everyone to go. Leave, yes, but go where? We lived through the Americans and Russians, through Americans again, many nights of death from the clouds, mornings surprised to be waking from the sleep of death, still unburied and alive, with no safe place. Leave, yes, we'll obey the leaflets, but go where? Ha, sorry. Thank you. Oh, it's on. Okay, sorry.
Back up.
All right, I'll back up. After that, Aleppo went up in smoke, and Raqqa came under a rain of leaflets warning everyone to go. Leave, yes, but go where? We lived through the Americans and Russians, through Americans again, many nights of death from the clouds, mornings surprised to be waking from the sleep of death, still unburied and alive, with no safe place. Leave, yes, we'll obey the leaflets, but go where? To the sea to be eaten? To the shores of Europe to be caged? To Camp Misery and Camp Remain here, I ask you then where? You tell me you are a poet. If so, our destination is the same. I find myself now the boatman, driving a taxi at the end of the world. I will see that you arrive safely, my friend. I will get you there. Thank you. This is a poem for my brothers and sisters who went to Vietnam. We went to Vietnam together 5 years ago now. former soldiers, others, and we visited Hue. And this is a little poem. I guess it's much more of a tribute statement than a poem. It was for you, Kevin. We went that evening by dragon boat down the Perfume River, as far as the pagoda of the 3 golden Buddhas, candle boats in water and flames in floating lanterns down the night lit for the lost. The soldiers are old now, decades from the battlefield, pewter-haired, steel-haired, moons caught in a plumeria branch, metal still in the fields of rice. Bicycle chains no longer sing in the streets, nor is there the whir of stork's wings. But on the gray stone slabs of the 10,000 graves lie chrysanthemum. We are clouds that pass and pass. What does it matter if we are not the same as clouds? We are flutes in a cemetery waiting for breath. During the war, we severed all thoughts of time. For us, it was as if all time were at once. Now we say, greater courage is needed after the war than in its midst. This is called Mourning. It's another refugee poem. It's also from the Aegean. And it goes back to Homer. And it goes back to the ships called the Trireme. Mourning. A peacock on an olive branch looks beyond the grove to the road, beyond the road to the sea, blank lit, where a sailboat anchors to a cove. As it is morning, below deck, a man is pouring water into a cup, listening to the radio talk of the ships, barges dead in the calms awaiting port call, pleasure boats whose lights hours ago went out, fishermen setting their nets for mullet, as summer tavernas hang octopus to dry on their lines, whisper smoke into wood ovens, sweep the terraces clear of night, putting the music out with morning light. And for the breath of an hour, it is possible to consider the waters of this sea wine dark, to remember that there was no word for blue among the ancients, but there was the whirring sound before the oars of the great triremes sang out of the seam of world, through pine-sieved winds, silvered by salt flats, until they were light enough to pass for breath from the heavens, troubled enough to fell ships and darken thought. Now, as the clouds pass, roosters sleep in their huts. The sea flattens under glass air, but there is nothing to hold us there. Not the quiet of marble, nor the luff of sail, fields of time, a vineyard at harvest, and the sea filled with the bones of those in flight from wars east and south. Our wars. Their remains, scavenged on the seafloor and in its caves, belongings now a flotsam washed to the rocks. Stand here and look into the distant haze. There, where the holy mountain with its 1,000 monks wraps itself in shawls of rain. Then look to the west, where the rubber boats tipped into the tough waves. Rest your eyes there. remembering the words of Anacreon, himself a refugee of war, who appears in the writings of Herodotus. I love and do not love. I am mad and I am not mad. For if the earth is a camp and the sea an ossuary of souls, light your signal fires wherever you find yourselves, and come the morning, launch your boats.